TPE Network. Fun yet informative podcasts.
Hello and welcome to Mouse House Plus, episode 16, brought to you by TPEnetwork.com. I'm Hank.
And I'm John.
And we're your hosts, and we're throwing the shield around on YouTube a little bit.
Nice.
So this week we're going to be recapping episode number 5 of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, titled Truth. Oh, this was a fantastic episode. Let's get into it.
Yes.
Agent Walker, he's running and he ducks into an empty warehouse as he starts to have flashbacks about how Lamar was killed, all this different stuff he felt he could have done differently or better or what have you. And then he is confronted by Sam and Bucky. And Sam asks him for the shield. And that crazy look on his face when he is acting and he's like, so that's what this is about. Man, that guy is really good.
Yeah. And this is a whole scene here is very reminiscent at the end of Civil War with the Captain America, Winter Soldier, Iron Man battle, where in this case it's Winter Soldier, Falcon, Captain America battle.
I do want to say to that, though, this is way more brutal.
Oh, no, it is. I mean, that one was like, you didn't have anything to worry about because you had basically two super soldiers and Iron Man, where in this case, you've got like Sam, who's not, super, like he has a jetpack and he can do hand-to-hand combat fighting, but, it's not like if he gets punched by him, it's not going to hurt a whole bunch.
Right.
And on top of that, if you get hit by Bucky's left, I mean, that's almost lights out for you right there.
Yeah, it's probably game over. As you see what he does to that beam. Anything obviously outside of the arm break that really stood out in this epic battle that ensued?
Well, when he gets slammed against the wall and his arm is like, starting to short circuit or electrify or something like that. Like,
yeah.
I'm curious of where they were going with that and why we didn't come back to that, or something. The fact like his arm was limp and he had to restart it or something.
I think they're going to come back to that in the finale. I don't know if they would have zeroed in and focused on it so much if it wasn't going to be something that they're going to talk about again.
Mm-hmm.
Because maybe he's OP kind of, because he's got the serum, plus he's got that awesome arm.
Yep.
So they might be trying to say like, oh, if I could short that out a little bit or something or whatever, or disarm him, then I can do it. But did you notice he went straight for that handgun?
Yep.
They got that away from Walker first before they really started to engage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was I actually thought the first time I watched that, I actually thought Bucky pulled that. And then my second time through, I saw that he pulled it off of him. So it was just one of those, like, he had it and all of a sudden it was on the floor and I didn't know where it came from.
Okay. Yeah. That whole scene went so fast, but it was so full of good moves. Yeah. Each of them saving each other from certain death. I mean, when he went for that shield kill on Sam, I was like, whoa.
Twice.
Missed it by
like he
that
did
much.
He did the one where it was just the right arm punch down and Sam rolled away. Then the other one was, when it was about to bring both hands down on him and Bucky came in, was able to stop him. But this is interesting too, because, he has to throw out that I am Captain America line, just like how he's like, I am Iron Man.
Yes. I am Groot.
Yeah.
There's a lot of giving yourself some name recognition in this series.
A lot of I ams.
Only one, though.
Mm-hmm.
All right. At the end, when they break his arm and then they do that baseball swing into the freaking jetpack shield. Oh my gosh, dude. What a whooping they put on him.
Yeah, you know what? Now, the second time watching through, I was paying attention to the arm. And yeah, they broke the arm because I didn't see how far it bent back, but in your next couple scenes, they didn't really play that off as he had a broken arm. So because he definitely was lifting that arm up and moving it. And yes, I can understand that with the super soldier serum, it would be, his pain threshold would be there where it could mount it, but he wouldn't be able to really truly lift his arm up. His arm would halfway dangle because it's broken.
How quick do they heal? Has that ever been determined?
No, but I mean, for a break, it should be well. If a broken arm takes like 6 months, it's supposed to be like a fraction of that time, so probably less than a month. But think about this: like whenever Abomination, like he got the bejesus beat out of him by Hulk, he basically was back up and running within like a day or so.
And that's what's going to have to happen here because at the end of the episode, not much time has passed, and we see the previews. So for him to be back in a fight, it's going to have to be some kind of rapid healing or something. I don't know how they're going to pull that off.
Yeah, well, I mean, and it's kind of like a toss up because I mean, I don't know how much they acknowledge that Incredible Hulk movie, except for the fact that we do have, the our Ross that came out of that, but the more interesting thing is like when they gave that guy Abomination the injections, like they basically took the dosage and and split it up, so he got like arm and like in his spinal column, where the newer one isn't that way. So I don't know if maybe the way of injection or distributing the vaccine, not vaccine, what am I saying, distributing the super soldier serum plays a part in how that works, because that might help explain why he was actually even more absorbed in the power versus what Walker is, where if Walker just had like a little arm thing. So it's I guess technicality. When it all boils down to is that you'd have to like talk to the director's point of view to see like what their stance on how long it takes for them to heal. I mean, it's definitely not a Wolverine healing, but it's pretty fast.
Yeah, and I wish they would clarify that in the MCU. I always wanted to know that about Steve Rogers too. So it's nothing new. But I love the scene where Bucky wields the shield and you get that like ray of light on him as he's standing there, and then he just drops it next to Sam. Kind of passive aggressive, if you ask me. What did you think?
Oh, I just think he was tired, and he was just like, "Here, this belongs to you." Like, I actually wish that line was there. He didn't say that, and I feel that was missing.
And then when Sam gets the shield, it was almost like a metaphor when he wipes that blood. Like there's
Yeah.
this shield has been stained,
Yeah.
and that was tough. But I love that we got to see Torres. And the first thing he points out is like a nitpicky writer error where he was like, "Hey, I see you got your sleeve back." Like what? Like okay, and glad you survived that fall. Like he didn't know he survived. That was hilarious.
Yeah, and this is it's some foreshadowing for the next Falcon, since he's technically in the comics the next one to pick it up, because after Bucky turns around, not Bucky, sorry, man, I'm getting everyone mixed up today. At least I'm on par with everyone's names for the time being. So no, but when Sam like turns around, he's like, "Hey, you forgot this." He's like, "Keep it." So there you go. He's now going to fix this and start figuring it out.
Yeah, I love that too. That they're kind of showing us, potentially maybe younger Avengers or something to that effect.
Yeah.
Torres tells Sam that the live stream killing has changed things greatly. So him and Bucky are going to obviously have to stand down because this is now a big muster cluck. And then he wanted to know, how did the wings get broken and all that stuff. I love that, man. I love it. So those two are good together. Got
Yeah.
a good rapport, good dynamic. So trying to find somebody to pair him with could be tough because I'm already getting used to them two kind of buddying up.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting whenever we see in the next episode what actually is going to happen with Sam here. So, are there going to be like two Falcons? Is there going to be the Captain America Falcon and Falcon, or maybe he'll call himself Hawk or something like that? I don't know. I mean,
Hawkman. Uh-oh, that's taken.
oh, Birdman, Birdman.
And then they fast forward us to John Walker being in front of that council. I don't know if that was like a joint staff or whatever, like a multilateral group of leaders or something. I don't know what that was, but John is obviously stripped of the Captain America title, but avoids a court martial, and he's being retired. And he's like, I am Captain America. Only plot hole I kind of thought was here is that when he hits that desk like that, that desk should have folded. Don't you think?
Well, I mean, I think something did break on that. My second watch, it looked like something happened in that corner, but he was also at the top corner and he came down like karate chop. But you're right. I feel that there should have been some damage done to that. I mean, him
Yeah.
holding back like that wouldn't have been something that he could
No,
have done.
that's not his character.
No.
His wife is still supportive. I could not believe that. I was like,
Well,
where is this woman at?
yeah, I think that their biggest thing here is whenever they're like, "Yeah, you get no benefits," and as soon as he said that, I mean, everyone was like looking around, like, "Uh oh," so that means that like, how is he going to make any kind of money now at all? But
Right.
so this group is the world organization that's taking care of the I guess the increase of population flux due to the snapping, because this is the same council group that we're going to see at the end. It's just it's less of them. So I think this is like the primary like council where there's senators there, and then they've got the world version where like you have more countries that are involved, but they don't deal with the day-to-day beings of the organization.
Okay. Interesting. All right. Then we get Elaine Bennis shows up. I mean, Val shows up. Call her Val, but only in your head. She shows up and she already knows about the serum. She knows he doesn't have the shield. Um, and then she kind of passes us a good note where she's like, the the government doesn't own it technically. It's kind of a little legal slippery slope. And I was like, they're just giving us all the information we need as to why Sam can have it and they can't just come get it from him
Yeah,
and stuff.
the technical gray area.
Yes. It's a technical gray area, probably because the materials were stolen from Wakanda.
Yep.
So that's probably the issue there. And I was like, oh my goodness. And she hands his wife that blank card. Do you think that card's going to reveal something when the time is appropriate?
I sure hope so, because that's really weird just to hand someone blank cards, but it makes me think about just doing it just to mess with people.
Yeah, true. True.
Like, here's
my
my
card. Don't call me.
Yeah, there's nothing on it. Get the picture.
Exactly. One of our community members is going to be livid when we kind of talk about who this character is. Do you want to start talking about it now?
Sure.
Because we already have, sorry, spoiler alert, we already have a community member named Agent 14. And one of her aliases in the comics was, in fact, Agent 14. But we're never going to say that again because we already have an Agent 14. Okay.
Yep.
All
This
right.
is but with this whole thing here, we are setting up either one of the two organizations. We're either going to get this is setting up for the Thunderbolts or setting up for the Dark Avengers.
Okay. I can see both of those. What about a third one? What about a third option?
What would you say the third option is?
I would say that the third option is dun 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 Skrull Secret Invasion. That's what I'm saying. It's either Thunderbolts or it's Secret Invasion because those are the only two stories that are coming in the future, and you're going to drive one of those stories. I don't think you're going to waste time tooling Hydra or stuff like that. I think you're going to go in one of those two directions because they're coming up.
Well, I'm reading through BuzzFeed right here, and everything else I've read said the first two what I talked about, but BuzzFeed here says I bet this will help set up Secret Invasion. So but at the same time, she also has connections with. There
we go. Come on. All right, it's hard being humble.
What? I don't get applauses here. Jeez.
Oh, I got something for you. There you go.
Well, yeah, you keep that handy. We'll see what happens. but she also has connections to Hydra, so there could be a fourth option in there.
Madam Hydra at one point, but she was undercover, right?
Yeah, but I mean, it's not like they're keeping everyone to script for the MCU.
And in the comics, her and Sharon Carter were Agent 13, Agent 14. They were some kind of, what did they call themselves?
It's like a
I can't
fem.
remember.
Hold on a
Yeah,
second. I
yeah. It's
just
like
had it in front of me here.
it was
Uh,
something
Fem
catchy.
Force.
Yeah,
Fem
Fem
Force.
Force. Yep. Yep. So there could be a tie there. I don't think she's the power broker. I think she is speaking on behalf of the power broker. And if this is leading to Thunderbolts, I think it's going to lead to Thunderbolt Ross.
Yeah, but I mean, that's one of the things though is that I feel that Ross would have already been introduced by now if this is gonna be Thunderbolt. So I'm leaning more towards Dark Avengers.
All right. I'm leaning towards Skrull Secret Invasion. They'll have their little gimmicky group. I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully next episode they clear up some of this stuff. I would finally hope, but whatever. Carly and crew, they go see the GRC raid remnants. And she says, it's time. And I don't know, man. I'm not holding out any more hope for Carly, buddy.
No, same here. I mean, considering that she basically just starts smiling, being like, "Yeah, we are terrorists," which we'll get to that here in a moment. But yeah, just
Oh, it's just a normal everyday thing. You're like, no,
yeah.
not really. Zemo is in Sokovia. I didn't see that coming. I thought he was smarter than this. I thought he was going to run for it, but he
No,
knew it was coming. So
I knew.
Zemo says he's not going to try to kill Bucky anymore. And then he says Sam is as stubborn as Steve Rogers. I love that because that was like his co-signing of Sam, like his stamp on Sam. Like if anybody's going to be Captain America, this is who I would choose.
Yeah, and now you know what? I knew this was going to happen because why would they have dropped? I mean, first off, you know, when you got your catch up things in the beginning where you know, he basically was asking guys, "Have you even been to the memorial?" So automatically, I knew, okay, well, he's going to go to the memorial. But I thought that anyway because why would you drop something like that to two characters that don't even know that that even exists because they weren't around helping that at the time? So I had a feeling that we were going to end up right back there.
Yeah, you were a little more informed than I was because I was like, why is he there? Why isn't he running for his life? But
I I think that it's just one of those he got out, but he knows, considering that the Wakandans are after him. I don't think that you know he realized that he's going to get very far due to the fact because yeah, he may be clever, but I mean honestly, I don't. He doesn't seem to want to like just do nothing but run all the time. So
no. And then Bucky pulls that gun. I was like, this is Disney Plus. This is Disney Plus. This is Disney Plus. And thankfully, click. No, we get that bullet drops from the premiere previews that they were showing, and he had no bullets in the gun, so that was his rule 2. Nobody got hurt.
yeah, and this is also a double meeting where basically like he was showing that as the Winter Soldier, basically all the bullets that were in his left hand, and when he dropped that, basically saying there is no more.
Ah, interesting. Then the Dora Milaje show up, and Zemo says he took the liberty of crossing his own name off of Bucky's list. How awesome is that? I'm like, am I supposed to not like this character? Because I like this character.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why I think it's good that like how he's wrapping up because they're at least putting him into a situation where if they feel that they need him in the future, that he will be available.
Okay. But he could just be a pawn in the Thunderbolts. I don't know. We'll see.
That's possible.
Now, help me since you just recently watched this.
Okay.
The Wakandans are going to take him to the raft. Did they show her on camera when she said that, or did that come in as a voiceover?
No, she walked up to him and said that. So
They
right
showed her face on camera saying that though.
well, they showed her face. She started to say it, and then they cut to them. So,
See,
but
because
it wasn't.
I think this is a edit. I think this is an edit point.
Okay.
That's just my opinion. Because when I watched it, it was like I could just hear her voice. I didn't really see her on screen. I saw her before, I saw her after, but this sounded like a voiceover, like a dubbed voiceover later.
Well, I mean, the first part when she says we'll take him to the raft, that's whenever you see her. But then where she continues to say the rest, like where he will live out his days is when they're walking away. So maybe it is a voiceover. That's something I guess I have to go back and find the video and take a look real quick.
Okay, I was just curious because I was like, maybe that was supposed to be something else at the time. Because one, I was like, why would they trust him to be on the raft if they couldn't trust him being in that other big prison? So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it plays out.
Well, you got to think about this. And the other big prison he just got out of. The only people who've gotten out of the raft is because Steve Rogers came and got people out of the raft.
Yep. I tells Bucky to avoid Wakanda for a while as he's not popular there. And then he turns right around and says, "Hey, can I get another favor?" I was like, oh my gosh, man, quit asking for favors, dude.
Well, I mean, and I was kind of confused about this. I mean, I can understand them being upset with him, but why would they be upset longer? Like he basically just led them to him again and handed him over.
Well, he
So
broke him out in the first place, so he had to do that.
yeah, but he didn't break him out. He basically broke himself out. The only thing he did was pass one letter.
Gosh. Here we go. You have earned it. There you go.
No way. He dropped
You
a
have
letter.
earned it.
Nah.
He dropped a letter, dude.
Well,
Hypothetically, what happens if this happens and this happens and all these perfect things happen? Get out of here with that. All
Well,
right,
I
Sam
mean,
goes to see Sarah, and he doesn't. Oh, sorry. Sam goes to see Isaiah. So sorry. And Isaiah doesn't want to see the shield. He's like, nope, leave that, leave that away, put it away. And then Isaiah gives us a history lesson. What did you think about this crazy history lesson?
I mean, it's basically exactly what happens in the comic books. Yeah, I think the only difference is that his wife in the comics is alive when he gets out, where in this case she has passed away before he gets out.
Yeah, that was awful.
And that is it's called Truth, Red, White, and Black. That series. I think you can get it as a book now. But yeah, that it's basically kicking off from there. And also he mentions like the Red Tails, which is the black fighter pilots from World War II.
Right.
And
that's a true story.
Yes, that is. So it was a good history lesson, and I like the fact that we came back to this character to actually see in depth, everything that he went through and had to deal with, not just him being angry and telling them to leave. Like he actually got to explain a lot more here.
I do. I liked it. Now, if you're not watching video, I always preface before I speak out of the side of my neck, I am black. So just in case you can't pick that up by my voice, if you're listening to the podcast, then oh, he's not just talking out the side of his neck. But I like this contrast because Isaiah has the history, but Sam has the knowledge of where we're at now. And I like that he doesn't want to forget the history, but he's also not going to let the history hold him back from being who he needs to be. I really like that.
Yep.
All right. Sam wants to help Isaiah, but Isaiah says, nope, leave me dead and buried. They'll try to kill me. And then he's like, they won't let a black man be Captain America. Foreshadow. Red herring. So Sam calls Sarah as he leaves and says he's coming home. And I was like, awesome. But their travel in this series is, I'm telling you, it's pretty fast or spectacular or something. I don't know. Sam and his nephews talk and they fill him in. And Sarah offers to talk, but the boat is the topic of the discussion. Did you care about this boat at all?
You know what? At the beginning, no, but now I am, because I like how it's kind of like putting Sam back together again, and also it helped work out Bucky's and his relationship. It was kind of just there to serve a plot point, but now the plot point is unfolded, so it's helping repair things. So I'm okay with this being with everything they're doing with it now.
Okay, I'm with you on that. I was dead set against the boat at first, and then I thought it was like too weird of an aside, just like the bank loan. But now I see it's a metaphor. Repair. All right, so Sam calls in a whole bunch of favors. So, like you said, they're going to get a whole bunch of people to, block party repair. But Bucky, he just lifts, what was that entire engine off that truck?
That's what I thought too, and like I love that. It came in and be like, oh, he just moving all kinds of things. Yeah, I'm telling you, this relationship between the two of them, they did such a good job because everything through here, like whenever he was like, oh, and his sister's name is Sarah, and that was one of the last people that Bucky was talking to Steve Rogers about. Remember? Because Steve Rogers' mom was named Sarah. Whenever they were questioning him to see if he was a Winter Soldier, if he was Bucky, she is, your mother's name was Sarah.
Yeah.
As soon as he said that, he dropped that. I was like, oh, he's saying it the same way. But that whole thing with like him and Sam, he's like, stop flirting with my sister. Which is interesting because he has yet to flirt with anybody because he's just so caught up in his own head. So this is nice seeing him being able to unwind like he is.
It is. It's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So Bucky called in a favor from the Wakandans, and but they don't show us, because Sam doesn't look right at that moment, and so they go to the boat repair montage, and then Bucky is gonna leave, but Sam asks him to stay as long as there's no more flirting. So that was great. Now, John Walker lying to Lamar's family. I'll be honest, I'm not mad about that because they needed that closure.
Yeah, but at the same time, as far as he's concerned, he's convinced that the whole group is responsible for his death. So
True.
I'm pretty sure that in his mind, it's still the right thing.
Okay. Sharon is talking to Batroc, and she says she kind of reveals in this conversation how she had hired him before, and he's screaming in French. I took 2 years of French a long time ago. The only thing that I know that it sounded like he said was he lost his men or something like that.
Well, okay. I know that this is that they're trying to make this where he was the first person, but keep in mind, she was directly underneath Fury, and Fury hired him in the Winter Soldier to be, to take that, download the data information. So I think that, it's possible that she's the one that got him then, not this last time around. Now, I'm not saying that that's the truth, but hold on. But there's a whole other thing that's going on here. Okay. So this is this weird conspiracy going on that if you have a cell phone in this and any Marvel series,
it can't be Apple.
Yeah,
if you're evil.
Yeah, and this phone is not an iPhone. So that's what.
See, I was looking at this phone. The last time she had a phone, it was clearly an Android.
Yep, this is an Android phone. So
this one is too, because this one looks silver to me. This one looks like silver, like an iPhone.
I can send you the picture of it.
Yeah, send me the picture in private chat, please. But yes, that has always been a definer because Apple will not allow a company to represent them as their devices are used for negative stuff.
Yep.
Send it in the StreamYard chat.
It's all right. You're gonna have to scroll down.
I got it. Okay, he's Iron Man. How far down? Goodness gracious, buddy.
I mean, down.
It's like down to the end of the episode.
It should be.
There it is. I see it. It's silver.
It's got just a little camera. That's it. There's no iPhone. There's no Apple logo back there.
I don't see an Apple logo, but it does look silver. Like there's could it be a Samsung maybe?
I mean, come on. They make silver phones.
Okay. Here's why I'll say is the reason she's not the power broker or anything bad. If anything, she's a double agent, triple agent, something like that. Is just because all her stuff is too on the nose. I'm talking to Batroc. I've tasked these satellites to watch you. The power broker is watching. Power broker's mad and stuff. It'd be too on the nose if she ended up being the power broker or legitimately working for the power broker. She might have ties to the power broker, but trying to take them down so she can get her um, get herself exonerated.
I don't know. I think you're just saying that because you don't want me to be right in my guess.
And then behind it all, it's Mephisto.
Yep,
Gosh.
Mephisto.
Sam's nephews are playing with the shield. It reminded me of when Wanda's kids were playing with the shield in the behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I love that stuff. I thought that was really cool. And then Bucky's helping Sam on the boat again. And Sarah takes over repairs, and put a pin right here in this situation where they're talking about the water pump or whatnot, because we got a community member feedback that is going to nitpick the crap out of this section right here.
Well, I mean, it looked like it was the header, because I mean that looked like the top of the valve cover, and that's what they're working on. I mean, I know engines, and I only saw it for a moment, but I mean, it didn't look like the water pump, unless they had to take the valve cover off, or the header, depending on however you would look at it, to get to the pump. I mean, there are vehicles that you have to do that, but I don't know why you would have just brought it with you. You'd probably just leave it with the engine.
All right, we'll get to it in there because it's really funny.
Okay.
All right, Sam starts throwing the shield, and Bucky apologizes to Sam. So him and Steve had talked about this prior to Steve taking his long little trip there. Did you find that interesting that we got that kind of clarification as they
Yeah.
throw the shield around?
I feel that they've always had conversations going on about who would want to take it next, or who Steve would want to have it next. And I know that Bucky probably he would have said Bucky first, and Bucky's like, I can't do it. I've done too much wrong to be able to wield that shield. So Sam would have been his next pick. It's possible it could have been the first pick if Bucky
that's what I was gonna lean towards.
Because Bucky could have came out right away and be like, "Don't even think about giving that to me."
Or Steve would have already known in his head, like, look at Civil War and all that.
Yeah.
So he might have already had it in his head, like, Sam is loyal, and even though he's not super powered, he has all the virtues to maintain the mantle. So I don't know. We'll maybe someday they'll clarify that, but that was cool.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and then Bucky tells us how he was mad about Sam retiring the shield and all that. And, I love when Sam says it doesn't matter what Steve thought, because that lets you know he also is saying it doesn't matter what other people think. So kind of going back to his earlier conversations, and I was like, I love that. And Sam gives Bucky some tough love, some tough advice and such. And then Sam and him are kind of going back and forth. Or are we friends? No, we're more like coworkers and stuff. I was like, this is great. Their dynamic is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Sarah now doesn't want to sell the boat, so we see where this is going to head, and I like that. Do you think they're going to change the name though to their names, or no?
No, because I mean it's their parents, and I think that was kind of the point to it. Maybe they'd add their names. I don't think they'd overwrite, considering the fact that they stopped them right there and then to not to erase the names. I think that they would stay.
He was getting ready to do it, and she's like, "Nope."
I almost feel that he was just like messing with her, because like he was just waiting for her to do this. So if this is the last thing that has to happen, so he was just doing that to make her say exactly what he knew she was going to say.
True, and he's good at that.
Yep.
Because he even almost got Crazy Man, John Walker. You almost had me.
Yep.
I love when Sam trains with the shield, because this is my turn to get nitpicky. Because when you're running, you just do random flips and stuff. No, you don't. But when they do show that flip, it is so clearly a stunt double. The guy looks nothing like him. And I was laughing so hard. I was like, see, you're trying to do too much.
See, I wasn't even paying attention that well to even notice if it was a stunt double.
Oh,
I was
man.
more along like just like looking and seeing like, that's complicated. Doing a flip and then like a twist in the flip. Jeez.
Right. And when are you going to do that? Let me flip and boom.
Well,
Unless you're in Age of Ultron
I was
and
gonna
you got to
say,
go flip.
you can't say that because Steve Rogers did do that a couple times. So
And yeah, okay, let's move on. Dovich and Carly meet up with Batroc,
mhm.
and he wants to kill Falcon. That was the deal. Agent 13 Sharon gave him. So that's his part in all this. And I guess it makes sense because I'm trying to figure out, who does John Walker have more of a beef with? Sam, Bucky, or Carly? I'd say Carly.
Yeah, because she killed his friends. But I mean, I know that because he broke his arm and stole his shield, that they're right underneath her.
1A, 1B.
Yep.
Because you kind of have to pair them up. You kind of have to say, this one's got to go after this one, and this one's got to go after that one. So that's what I'm thinking. They're going to kind of set him on Carly's path, and then Batroc on Falcon's path, and then I don't know, Bucky gets what, scraps? I don't know. We'll find out.
So what was in the case? Because I kept pausing and looking at it because there was two spheres of some sort. They didn't look like grenades. They looked like I honestly don't know what they look like.
I thought they were like those grenades, like you see, sophisticated grenades that you see in other movies and stuff.
You mean like the thermal detonator from Star Wars? Because yes, they did look similar to that. But that's what I'm saying is I don't know what everything was in there. I mean, some crazy high tech weapons. That's really what I'm curious of what they are. Maybe it's a like an EMP grenade, which that's possible. And if it
Ooh.
does, then it would take out Bucky's arm, and that would help knock him down. But
That's a good one.
but I mean, I'm just curious. I really wish they gave us a little bit more of insight of what side was in there.
Okay. That's a good one. It looked like some Agents of Shield type gadgets to me. I was like, all right. Carly wants to stop the GRC vote. She's like, there won't be a vote. And then she starts activating all their different people and such. And then we get Torres, who tells Sam that the Flag Smashers are in New York, and we get to see firsthand them infiltrating the building. Like, they focus in on the one guy, and then in the park, and then in the building, he comes in, somehow has all this super high security, and he's like, what did he say? One nation, one people, or something?
I didn't even hear what he said when he leaned over to that guy, the guy. But at the same time, I had an issue. I'm like, okay, so all the Flag Smasher minions are just hanging out in the park. Like, do they put out the call and that's where everyone is supposed to relatively meet, or did she just activate that? Then all of a sudden, all these people are like, oh yeah, hey, we're with the cause. We just so happen to be here.
But how did they get to New York? You're the most wanted terrorist in the world.
Thank you. I thought the exact same thing. We're like, yeah, we're just going to stop here, just go to New York. No one's jet lagged or anything.
Oh my goodness. That's why I said about the show, like the travel, how you can just be a criminal and travel about with no problems.
I mean, they were able to get access to a plane, when they were doing the supply. So maybe they've got someone that's a little higher up that has something that can travel. I mean, you can take a propeller-driven plane overseas because you could do a lot of jumping of all the small territories and islands up the upper north and make it to New York, but that takes a long time.
Yes. And they're not clear on this series, like how much time is passing. They don't make that clear.
I mean, it's got to be weeks. There's no way that Sam's a workout montage and him learning how to actually work the shield and do those flips happen in a day.
This was a 24-hour span. You're like, really? Was it? But I don't know. It's fun nonetheless. All right. At the end of the episode, before the post credits, of course, we have Sam opening the briefcase. And I know what it's in it. You know what's in it. Everybody listening knows what's in it. But is that a spoiler if we talk about it?
No.
They showed us one screen of it. You saw the one little bit of a peek you got at it. Because the reason I know is because before, up until recently, I was a retail manager. So I already know I know what's in that case.
Okay, so this right here is supposed to be like a same presentation that they had from WandaVision when Wanda was going through like the memories, and then you saw like the Scarlet with the outline of the Scarlet Witch, basically coming down when she was being like hit with the Mind Stone the first time.
Mhm.
So this is kind of like Falcon's version of that. So
Nice.
we're seeing the premonition of what we know he's going to be.
Yes. Yep. So, and they sell toys of this stuff all the time. So if you want to look, look. If you don't, don't. All right. At the very, very end, John Walker is making his own shield. That shield is horrible.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's very reminiscent of the Stark making his first Iron Man suit with the hammering. Because as soon as I heard that was the first thing I thought of. So, and going back and like looking at other articles, I'm not the only one that thought that was referenced an awful lot. So,
Yeah, but he's like an evil Iron Man,
Yep.
clinging away. How this becomes a shield,
no idea.
I have zero. I have nothing. John, do you want to get into our rating, or do you
Uh,
want to talk some more after credits?
Yeah, I mean, we could do it does either or. I'll let you decide.
Let's go into our rating.
All right.
Otherwise, we'll forget like we did one other week. I absolutely love this episode. It had some flaws, some warts and everything, but I just think the messaging, the communicating, the varied opinions and stuff like that, I think it's just really well done. Another 10 out of 10 for me. I like the action sequences were perfect. The conversations were even better. What are you giving
Yeah.
it?
Again, I don't want to give it anything a 10 unless I'm at the edge of my seat, but this is definitely like 9.5 because it was up there. Even this is the first episode that even the slow parts were so important and so well done that it helped progress the stories. Like it didn't like what was it? I think it was the first episode when we hit all those slow parts. We were like, yeah, they really seem to be drug out, but these didn't feel that way. These actually felt like you needed to have these pauses.
Yep.
So I really like this. So I'm gonna if we're doing percentages, I'm saying 9.5. If we're not, it's a 9.
Okay. 9.5 it is.
Yep.
Shall we get into some feedback?
Sure.
All right. This first one is from Elizabeth. Hi, Hank and John. While Walker is fully responsible for his own actions, why isn't the GRC calling out the guy who had the bright idea to take the shield from Sam under false pretenses and give it to a psychopath as a publicity stunt? Wow, that's a fantastic question. You think behind the scenes, maybe that guy's going to get dressed down by whoever's even higher than them?
Maybe.
Like, hey, it's your fault. You picked him.
Yeah, I can see that, but I mean, in all aspects, I mean, they've already spelled it out the reason why they picked him. They had all good reasons to pick him. It's just one of those things where, in the end, he did what he was told to do, and not because he wanted to do it. But now towards the end, he's kind of like getting his own legs to stand on. And he wants to do what he wants to do, but it's going against what he's being told to do.
Okay, fair enough. Elizabeth goes on to say, why was Carly surprised the GRC rounded up her home base? She is usually more shrewd than that. I don't know. Like sometimes it's like they're writing her as a kid, and then other times they're writing her as this like mastermind leader. What do you think, John?
No, I agree with that. It's very odd how one moment you care for, the next moment she's evil, but then right as soon as you're done with that, she's really appealing to your good side. So it's very conflicting when it comes to how we want to take her in.
Yeah, because I want my bad guys to just be bad or something,
Yeah.
sometimes. So there's a lot of gray in this one. Great episode overall with deep conversations. I'm looking forward to you letting us know who Julia Louis-Dreyfus's character is. Thanks. And that's Elizabeth. Yep, Elizabeth, I hope we did a good job explaining who her character is. I think there's a lot more to come with her, especially with that weird streak in her hair. She kind of had that Victoria hand streak in her hair, but different color.
And those boots were not made for walking.
It's like an amalgamation of who's the brand from Sword?
Who's the? I don't know.
Abigail.
Yeah, but she was a mutant though.
Yeah, she's like an amalgamation of a bunch of characters to me. I don't know. We'll find out what she's doing. I'm thinking it's gonna be Secret Invasion or Thunderbolts. John thinks it's gonna be whatever John thinks it's gonna be.
Dark Avengers. Come on, man. I said
Wrong.
Dark Avengers, and
It's okay that you're wrong.
Thunderbolts.
It's okay that you're wrong, John.
I'm not wrong. I'm not wrong yet.
All right, let's go to it is Caden. Caden's awesome. Caden joined me on a live stream. He tuned in on a live stream I did back around Christmas, I want to say. And ever since then, I just love hearing from Caden. So he's got some nitpicks in this episode. I like that we got more backstory on Isaiah Bradley. We got to see Elaine Bennis from Seinfeld talking to John Walker. Is she the power broker or is she working for someone else? I think we've done a good job of making our speculation on that. And what is Sharon Carter's play here? Is she for or against us? I want to say that she is on the good side, but she has more of a dark way about it. Yeah, I think Sharon is trying to clear her own name, either that or she is deep undercover working for Sword, and then she's just putting all these pieces in play, trying to get to the power broker or something along those lines. That's just my opinion. Anything different, John?
No, I think she's a power broker, but I mean, you keep saying no. Oh, we're gonna find out the next episode.
I can't wait. All right, now to get picky. Being an engine/powertrain builder for a living, I couldn't help but notice Sam and Bucky working on the boat engine. Then Sarah comes up and says that she told them the problem wasn't the water pump. Well, they had the whole cylinder head, the starter, and what may have been the water pump laying on the table. Now, I don't know what engine you have to take the head off to remove the water pump, or how the water pump has anything to do with it not starting, but I have to call that out. And laughter ensues. Also, when Bucky first arrived and unloaded the truck, they had a crankshaft for an engine sitting there. Are they planning on doing a rebuild? Who has a spare crankshaft for an engine laying around? They all take a different one. So, I love the nitpicky. Just like I get nitpicky on fight scenes, and then when I can clearly see a stunt double, I get picky on that stuff. Caden had to set us straight on this engine and water pump issue.
Okay, so there are some engines out there that you have to disassemble a lot to get the water pump out. But on these bigger diesel engines, he's absolutely right. I don't know why you have to take the head off. By the way, and I was right, it was the head. And he is absolutely correct. There's no reason why you wouldn't be able to start the engine. It just wouldn't be able to continue running because it's now not getting cooled.
Yeah.
And typically the water pump is already going to be flooded anyway because it's pulling from water from outside the boat. So, for them to remove the head, clearly when it's not turning over, it's something with the internals, what's going on. So more than likely, like a leaky valve or it's not getting the proper fuel mixture. Yeah. Now, as for the crankshaft, I'm not gonna say it's that far-fetched because you got to think where they're at. There's how many boats have you seen that are typically just lying around whenever you go down to like the south and like a fishing area? I mean, if anything, I think we would have to say that it's more impossible to say that someone has the exact same engine in another boat. Now, do they have parts that might fit it? It's possible, but having a crankshaft, I could see that being more possible than it actually being the right crankshaft.
I love it. We are nerding out today. This is great.
I mean, because they've got to have parts all over the place, down there, especially if they're keeping all these older boats up and running. There's other boats that don't survive. I mean, shoot, hypothetically, this boat, if they don't get up and running, is going to be one of those donors that they're getting stuff from.
Okay. All right. Caden goes on to say, I'm going to give this an episode an 8 out of 10 because I do enjoy all of them, but I did get a little picky on this one. I'm glad Sam has the shield back and that him and Bucky are seeing eye to eye more. The next thing I can be picky about is the post-credits scene with John Walker. Now, I know he is making a shield, but I don't think anyone has to worry too much his welding technique and the looks of those welds. That shield will be off balance and fall the first time he throws it. If
Well,
that's what he's planning on doing, looking forward to hear you guys' thoughts. Oh my gosh.
now, okay, so I've got pictures right here off of that BuzzFeed. If you scroll all the way down where he's dealing with it, like, okay, so the final pieces look right. I don't understand what it is that we were seeing because you're right. The tack welds on there look absolutely horrible, but that was a full size shield. Then we go back and and I'm looking at this picture now. He's got three pieces. He's got the center
Yep.
star, and then a couple rings. Okay, well that means that it's not put together. So I don't know what that first scene was that he was welding together, but
Interesting. Unless, do you think he's going to have it
on
like a
top of
back
something.
part and then another part?
I mean, that's possible. I mean, now that you mention it, that would make more sense. But
Oh my
I,
gosh.
but I have a thing right here that I just want to point out. I want to know, and please, I'm not military, so I do not know this. And so anyone out there who's listening to this that it is, please give us a feedback because I want to know what was the importance of the pin that he had. That award that he was holding whenever he was on the bench, but then at the same time he had it on the shield. I actually thought he was going to weld that to the shield.
So did
I mean,
I thought he was using it as like material or something at first. I was like, what is
yeah,
he doing?
yeah. So I want to know what that award is for. Is that like it didn't look like Medal of Honor, but or like a Purple Heart. So I'm not really sure what it was for. So if anyone knows what that is, please let me know.
Yeah, they said what it was, and I can't remember. Somebody told me what it was, and I did not write it down. But yes, definitely get a hold of us. Let us know. Feedback at tpenetwork.com or tpenetwork.com/feedback for all the ways, voice messages, writing, everything.
Mhm.
Yeah, you can head there and send your thoughts in. We love to hear from you. John, what else do you want to talk about? Thanks, Caden, for sending that in. That was great.
Um, let's see. I mean, we could try and delve into more Sharon Carter, but you already had that episode trying to figure out like who the power broker is. So I'm not even going to worry about that right at the moment.
Okay. Is there any other third party besides Thunderbolt Ross that could be the power broker? Is there any other person out there that could potentially show up in this sixth episode?
Hammer.
Justin Hammer?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's possible.
Possible. Yeah. That's a long shot, but possible.
Well, keep in mind, I mean, he's also one of the people that help supply like the Thunderbolt. So that's where I was going with that.
Okay.
Outside of that, I mean, no, I mean, because clearly it's not Zemo.
No, it's definitely not Zemo.
Yeah.
He's definitely off the books. I don't know. Because at first I was thinking like a computery type individual that would have access to satellites and cell phone communication and all that kind of stuff. But I don't see anybody revealing themselves in that manner. So I don't know who else it could be. Anything else, John?
All right. So hold on. So I just Googled that real quick and Wilson Fisk popped up.
Whoa. Now that would be awesome. Especially if
mean,
they had the guy from the Netflix ones.
I mean, they said he was still interested in doing it. So
that would be awesome. I would love that. But when was this filmed as opposed to when did that Netflix deal run out? That non-compete. It was 2 years.
Yeah, but what happens
now?
What happens if but hold on. There might be a way to get around this. So if they never introduce him as Wilson Fisk and just say he's the power broker when this is going on, then they can use the character and everyone knows who he is. Yep. But he's, as long as they don't say that, then legally
that's a good one because you can hire anybody you want.
Yeah.
I could hire the actor that played Luke Cage and be like, I got a strong guy that's going to be on our team. And
Yeah.
they never call him Luke Cage or Power Man. That's pretty smart, John. You redeemed yourself.
Yay!
You definitely redeemed yourself. Throw the shield with you a little more. But all right.
Now watch, it's going to be something completely like the opposite direction. And then I'm like, well, okay, well, I'm going to start pitching my ideas at Disney because clearly this would have been a better idea.
Exactly. Sometimes you do have way better ideas than they do.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Is that it?
Yeah.
This has been a lot of fun. What a great episode. So thank you all for tuning in to Mouse House Plus. Be sure to subscribe by heading to tpenetwork.com/subscribe. For John, I'm Hank. Until the next time, we're signing off.
Bye, everybody.
TPE Network. There ain't nothing else like it.